What's up, everybody? Welcome to another weekly Wednesday live stream. I'm Peter.
My name is Eric.
Well, you know us, right?
Yeah.
We're the guys who killed that QB.
No,
defenseless QB last week.
Okay,
You've got plans for this week too.
Let me explain. I put it back together, and the light was burning, but it didn't boot. So I gave it to Ruud. He's still checking.
Yeah.
But it didn't die.
It's in a coma right now. A very deep sleep, and we hope that someday
it will
awaken.
But
today, some very different topics.
Yeah.
Who knows? We might get some hardware carnage as well.
I have a screwdriver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Eric with a screwdriver, that's going to end badly for some hardware at least. Today, we're going to be talking about a brand new product. I've got some boxes here actually.
No, not that one.
That's not it.
No, not that one.
That's not it.
No.
No.
Close.
No. That's also not it. No. That's one too big. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Huge box.
Yes. So bottom of the file.
This product, it gave us a lot of
what a
headaches.
Yeah. What a story.
So, first message of our sponsor.
Yes.
Let me see which one.
Do we have a sponsor today?
Oh, yeah. I have it here.
Oh, there we go. Right above my head.
Yeah.
So again, guys, we have a giveaway, of course. As always, you can win a game code for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. You told me earlier today that this game was breaking sales records or something like that, so it must be good. I haven't tried it myself. I have to be honest about it. I would love to, but we've been busy with
other things. We will talk about that later.
With a thing that we'll come back to in just a few seconds. So, but if you want to win one of these game codes, it is actually the base game plus the Iceborne expansion.
Yes.
So you get both.
Steam code.
Really sweet deal.
Yeah.
Steam code indeed. And you can win it by going to msi.com/2/insider.
Everybody knows the drill.
Also, our bot will be spamming it in the chat, I believe.
Yes. Let me
just follow the link.
check if I can. Oh.
Yeah, just follow the link to giveaway. Fill in all the deets, like the likes, subs the subs, whatever. Just do whatever it asks. The more things you do, the more chance you'll have to win. And that's pretty much all you have to do. And you have to do it once in the stream, and then we'll have multiple giveaways during the stream. So if you do it once, you're set. You should be in for the draw.
Question. Let's go back to the topic.
One question?
Yeah.
Really?
Many.
I already saw like 200 questions scrolling up the screen.
Does this have the BIOS update? Well, no. But that's what we're going to do today on the stream.
Exactly. So let me explain. For those of you who don't know, let's start off with the basics. So this is the RX 5600 XT. Our Gaming X model, as you can see. So AMD announced this during CES.
Yes.
We already knew about it for quite a bit longer, of course.
There were also a lot of rumors on the internet. Everybody knew.
But everybody knows AMD is full of surprises, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if we can mention the exact date, but I think late last week or beginning of this week, we got the message that there was indeed some changes. And they're not bad changes, at least not for you. For you, they are good changes. They're excellent changes. These are the changes that you should be waiting for. For us, well, if they would have been earlier, if we'd known about them earlier, it would have been easier. But in the end, you get more performance for the same price. So what's not to like, right? The thing is, we only had very little time to try and prepare it.
Well, not only that, also it's Chinese New Year.
Yes. So the timing is actually double bad.
Because everybody in China, the factories are based in China, or headquarters is based in Taiwan, and everybody, as of to yesterday or today,
this afternoon. Everybody's out of office. All the offices are closed. Factories are closed. So, and it depends. Most people will have the basic is like a week or something, maybe a bit longer. Yeah. But a lot of those people will they save up their holidays, and Chinese New Year is the holiday for them. So some of them will be out of office for 3 weeks. So it's coming at a bad time. As in, it's really hard to respond when all the engineers and everybody is at home. And
we got it fixed, and actually you just got called from Taiwan,
yeah,
right?
they're still working on it. These guys they do. It's not like they say, okay, it's Chinese New Year, I don't care. No, they feel responsible. It's their job, so they will work on it as long as they have to. But yeah, I mean, it's not been easy. It's been quite tough.
Yeah.
And
let's talk a little bit about the GPU, because I think it's interesting.
Let's try and start with the basics as well before we go into the what happened stuff. We'll get back to that a little bit later. So here we have some slides we prepared. So of course it's the RX 5600 XT Gaming X. So
we have more than Gaming X.
Well, yeah, but in this case we have the Gaming X. So the XT GPU. So let's talk about the GPU first. This is how AMD, of course, presented it during CES. So the positioning is, of course, well, you can see it by the numbers. It's in between 5700, which we had before, and the 5500 series. So makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And they say it's ultimate 1080p because they already had a card for 4040p, and well, they already had a card for 1080p. So where do you put it? So also that's why the title of this stream is, what is it? Is it more 1080p Ultra, or is it also quite suitable for 4040p? Well, that's the question we want to answer for you.
After the free update, let's say like that, it's definitely...
I would say 4040p, but that's, people need a reason to keep watching the stream. So let's not spoil it for them.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
So we will go benchmark and...
Yes, exactly. All right. So of course this is part of their new, the Navi lineup, their RDNA. It's very efficient, of course, because 7 nanometers. That's clear. So what is this GPU? Well, it has 36 compute units, 2304 stream processors, 7.19 teraflops. Those of you who follow this news already know about this, right? You've seen this at CES, so you will know about this. The reason we're showing this is because some of these specs have changed somewhat later on. We'll get back to that. But first, these numbers by themselves might not tell you all that much.
I see a lot of questions about the giveaway. Today we have...
Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
Yeah, so no Steam code today. No. This value was like $40 US?
No, more, because the base game is included as well. Iceborne itself is like $40 US, and I think the base game,
I think that was included in the base game as well.
Yeah?
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm not sure.
Nice game. Wink.
Eric's favorite.
Yeah.
He plays it all the time. All right. But it really only makes sense when you put it into context. So let's do that. So here you have the context. Compared with all the smaller brother, basically the 5500 XT and its bigger brothers, the 5700 series. So here you can clearly see it's based on a Navi 10, which is the same GPU as the 5700 series. That's also why, for example, it has the exact same number of cores as the 5700. But the clock speed is quite a bit lower, as you can see. It also has less memory, so the 5700 had 8 gigs of GDDR6.
I think especially memory is important if you're going to push higher resolutions, right?
Yeah, well,
like 4K or maybe already 4040p.
In some games, yeah, it depends on if you've got really high-res textures. That indeed is when you will notice it a lot. And it's also quite noticeable because you can see that even for the 5500 XT, they had an 8 gig version. So it's quite remarkable that they would choose to do a 6 gig version on a higher end. But, who knows, maybe it'll work out quite well. The memory bus is also somewhere between 192-bit versus 256 for the 5700 and 128 for the 5500. And it's all 7 nanometers, of course.
Yeah, I see somebody saying I hear some crosstalk between the mics. Maybe you're sitting too close to me? No.
I don't know.
I saw Robin was already looking into that, so if it's still there, it should be fixed quite soon.
Ooh. Hopefully it'll be fixed soon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So this is quite interesting because AMD, these new RDNA GPUs or architecture-based GPUs, they're already running at 7 nanometer.
Yes.
Well, their competitor NVIDIA is still at, I don't know.
Is it 14, 12? I don't know.
Something, I think 12,
yeah. So it will be interesting to see whenever NVIDIA comes up with a new generation, you would expect them to also make the jump.
Yeah.
But in comparison now, I think AMD has kind of reached parity, I think they call it, right? So they have similar usage of what kind of performance you get out versus what the power usage is. AMD has achieved that by jumping to the 7 nanometer node, while NVIDIA has achieved it while still using the higher, so the 12 nanometer node. So it will be very interesting to see if they jump to the 7 nanometers, what that will do. But for now, let's stick with the 5600 XT.
Yeah, I see a question. Any info on AMD's big Navi? Well, no, not officially.
No.
I think there are a lot of rumors online, as you can see.
So wait, the short answer no, long answer no, right?
Well, I mean, PlayStation is apparently going to use something Navi based as well, or from AMD. They always have custom silicon, so they always do their own tweaks. Well, not they always do, but AMD is always doing custom silicon on the request of Sony to make sure it fits the architecture, the TDP and everything. And yeah, the rumor is also, let's say, hardware ray tracing, but nobody knows, so we will have to wait for that. And when it will, it's also interesting to speculate when it will come on the market, because there are different strategies. In the past, for example, AMD, they launched a GPU and they first supplied the OEM. For example, in that case, it was Apple. I think that was with, what was the previous one?
Yeah, you mean the Mac Pro and all the... Oh, I don't know. I don't keep track of Apple, to be honest.
Yeah, anyway. So, let's hope they also put some silicon for us in the channel, that we can have a big Navi GPU for PC.
Yeah.
And not everything is going to PlayStation 5, but you never know. And this probably is still far away.
I mean, Lisa Su did kind of say, you should expect big Navi. I'm not sure did she say this year? I don't know.
She did. She did say this year.
So,
the problem was, she didn't say for PC.
No, that's true. Yeah. So it's always, you have to be very. These people, they choose their words so carefully. So you have to.
It's
be
like
really
us.
No, not really, not really. What about Fortnite? Did you play? No, but so yeah. I mean, these people, you really have to analyze what they say, because again, exactly like Eric said, she said you might see, or you should see big Navi sometime this year. That could mean it's on, I don't know, like integrated into PlayStation or whatever. Doesn't have to mean it's in a PC. So it can be quite tricky what they're saying, and it's up for interpretation, and they do that on purpose.
So let's continue.
Yes. Yeah, let's continue to the next one. So now you have the context of where this GPU is, and you can see clearly it's basically the same GPU, the same die as the 5700, but a much lower clock speed and less memory, lower memory bus. That's it. So then let's get to the point, what happened? Because this is very recent, and that's pretty much what I see a lot of questions about as well, a lot of comments. Something happened. At CES, AMD announced it.
This is always the case. I mean, companies, they need to announce products, and there is always a competitor.
Yes, and in this case, of course, NVIDIA.
Yeah, so you need to think about what will their move be.
And what did NVIDIA do, of course? They announced with one of our competitors a 2060 card at a very low price point, or a $300 price point, which is just above the stated MSRP for the 5600 XT. So it's clear that what they wanted to achieve is that in the reviews they would compare this card, the 5600 XT, with the 2060 instead of the 1660 Ti or the 1660 Super, which is relatively similar in performance.
Yeah.
And in response, what AMD did was, somewhat of a godsend for people who wanted to buy this card anyway, because now they get more performance.
They could do two things. Either they would drop the price before the launch, and I think that's never a good strategy.
No, because then you devaluate the product.
Yeah, indeed.
Or indeed, they could do what they did now, which is to say, we can squeeze a little bit more out of it. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So basically, they released a new BIOS with basically what they did is they upped
They released the BIOS code to vendors like MSI.
Yes, yeah.
So it's not AMD,
No, not releasing it directly. It's not a driver update. It's indeed. So they have to release it because each BIOS for each card even is different for MSI and for our competitors as well, for all AIBs as they're called, add-in board partners, I believe it stands for.
Yes.
So Yeah, and then we have to, for example, our engineers will have to go and figure it out and see, okay, so does this work? And they'll have to revalidate the card. There's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not just, yeah, apply a different driver and works. No, it has to be completely reevaluated. Everything has to be tested again. The problem with this is that the first batch of these products, of these cards, were already on their way, if not in the warehouse already. So that means that you can't ship it back to you can, but it's not. You're not going to ship it back to the factory to update the BIOS, for example. So this creates an issue, a problem, if you will, because you want to. We always want to, from our standpoint, when you buy the card in the shop, it should have the latest BIOS, the final BIOS, and that's it. You know, there should be no BIOS updates in a perfect world for you that you'll ever have to do. It's not like a driver update. BIOS update is a bit different. So driver updates you will get regularly. BIOS updates you should almost never have for graphics cards.
Yeah, no. But in mainboards, BIOS updates are normal, but we
it's
also
a bit more common,
always advise you don't have to flash unless you have it. Yeah, if you don't have any problem. I mean, flashing is always a risk.
These things, they are usually not, for example, to unlock secret features or extra performance. It's usually just fixing issues,
compatibility.
Compatibility issues or you know, bugs that they found, something like this. So if you are not experiencing any issues, usually it's better to just leave it alone, because even when flashing a BIOS, hey, you might theoretically fix one issue, but on your system it might cause a new issue.
I see a question, Gamers Club. Are we going to overclock today? If we have time left,
if we have time, yeah, we need to check if we have time.
This says
because Eric brought a screwdriver, and you know we don't want to disappoint him, so we also kind of want to do a teardown of this card.
Yeah. So I mean, this test setup also, you know, it was really quickly put together to have something today.
Yes, yeah, because again,
we even didn't touch it.
No, we let our technical Root. If you watch the stream regularly, you've seen our FAE in-house technical god Root. So he helped us with this, of course, and they've been testing their asses off with, you know, different versions, validating, you name it.
Yeah. So about the BIOS, because I think it's very important that people know. I mean,
well, what does a BIOS do on a graphics card, right? So it's basically the firmware, if you will. It's something that's on a base level. It dictates how the card functions. So it for example,
we call it a VBIOS for VJs.
Yeah, or virtual. I don't know if it's virtual.
No, VJ, VBIOS.
Yeah, because there's BIOS for motherboard, so it's also to prevent confusion. Anyway, that's also why you have VRAM, right?
Yeah.
Video RAM. Anyway, so what this does, for example, the BIOS contains details and parameters about, for example, what is the maximum amount of power this card can draw, is allowed to draw. What are the fan speeds? For example, you know, the zero throttle feature we have in there. That's something that's actually it's a combination of a hardware feature, but also it's hardwired into the BIOS where that determines, okay, so below a certain temperature, the fans stop.
The triggers,
they
the
just
thresholds.
Stop. That's it.
Yeah.
So things like that need to be in the BIOS. Also, clock speeds are defined pretty much in the BIOS. So, as you can imagine, there's a lot that goes in there. And usually, well, you probably don't see many VBIOS updates for graphics cards once it's released. It's been a while since I've seen something like this. Because usually these values are relatively set, you know, they decide.
But now AMD had to react.
Well, yeah, they had to react. They felt the need that, okay, we need to respond to this. And they also felt confident that, you know, their cards had enough headroom to do this.
Well, I
think they were right.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look later, we will take some, I will take some card, take some card apart and you will see the cooler. It's really beefy. I think it's even the same cooler. Maybe we can check later. Yeah, like the 5700 XT.
Yeah, so it's easily able to handle more.
When I saw the card the first time, I said, you know, it's like overpowered.
It is. It's way too beefy.
Yeah. So now, and that's quite interesting.
And then you see the 3-fan versions of some competitors.
Yeah,
you really think,
that's
wow,
bullshit.
That's overboard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But now, I mean, with the change AMD did, they increased the power limit, and with the increase in power limit, you can also increase the clock speeds. So basically, you get a lot more performance, and later we will do some benchmarks, some benchmarks.
Of course, with the clocks, if you want higher clock speeds, the card will start to use more power, you know, and this is like a curve, you know, where it's not how do you call it, a straight line.
No.
it's like when overclocking, right? So if you overclock, then it's going to be exponential. So the amount of power it uses versus the performance you get out of it, it becomes more and more inefficient, actually, the higher you push it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what they're doing now as well, is they had to increase the power limit by, what was it, about 25 watts?
Well, later we will have some numbers.
Yeah, we have some numbers. But so they upped the power limit in the BIOS, which enabled us to also, everybody to up the clock speeds, which in turn means better or more performance. So better benchmarks, right?
Yeah.
However, there's one more thing, and you can see it already above me. There is also a memory speed increase. So
well, not necessarily. I mean, this is why I put it there.
Yeah.
There is a lot of confusion in the media and on the websites. I mean,
so stock this card has what they define it as 12 Gbps.
Yes,
right?
that's the speed.
Gigabit per second, I think
indeed,
it is. Then?
Exactly.
Yeah, small b, so that's bit, not byte. So it's gigabit per second, and some cards might be able to do 14 gigabit per second.
Yes.
The problem is that they are not really spec'd for it. So it's like Russian roulette.
No, well, I would like to say all the memory chips are 14, but they're not tested. They're not validated for it. So there's
AMD,
also...
Indeed, so AMD basically made this... Okay, maybe you also need to explain. AMD decides and delivers, like NVIDIA does it as well. If we, as a company, we say, yeah, we want to make this GPU, what they deliver is they deliver a bundle, usually, which is both the GPU and the memory.
Yes.
So they decide the memory. They buy it, as you can imagine, in the hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of units. Well, memory, there has to be millions, right? Because there's, I don't know how many memory chips on a single card. So millions of units. And of course, they decide the specs. And when they did this, the spec that this memory had to do was 12 Gbps. So, however, I don't know how this happened, but maybe somebody figured out that, oh, right, on paper, this memory module should be capable of doing 14 Gbps. So why don't we push it there? The problem with that is that these modules were not selected based on that they had to do 14 Gbps.
Well, it's not only the memory, it's also the PCB design. So it depends really.
Yeah, the whole card was designed for 12.
Yeah. And this, I mean, this is what you now see, the big mess in the media on all the websites. Yeah. You know, everybody expects, so I get a higher clock speed and I get faster memory, but that's not true.
Not the case for every card.
No, indeed. So yes, you get higher clock speeds on some models, because if you look clearly, closely to the AMD statement, they say our reference clock speeds stay the same.
They remain the same.
For vendor custom cards.
Yeah. With custom PCB, for example.
With custom PCB. So basically they're saying, if the card can handle it...
Yes, you can push it.
You can push it. Well, for example, this card, 5600 XT Gaming X, we have two 8-pins. And everybody was already...
And a very beefy heatsink.
Yes.
The VRM is also very... we tend to make these things more powerful than they need to be, because we want to be able to push it.
Overclock, and so now it will be a factory overclock.
So, and so in this case, it becomes a factory overclock already.
Yeah.
So there you go. And I see some people indeed saying they're not 14 Gbps bin modules. So indeed, so you can imagine, the process goes like this. AMD makes the this order and says, look, they need to be able to do 12 Gbps.
Yeah.
And the partner who provides the memory will perhaps say, well, we've got some of 14 Gbps, but if we can make sure they can do at least 12, then our yield rate will be better. And that's fine, because 12 Gbps they can do easily. It becomes, however, it can become a problem when you do try to push them to 14
Let me
Gbps.
explain a little bit about this, because it's quite interesting.
It is.
People think that we can test the GPUs, the GPUs in the factory, to say, oh, this one can overclock higher, and this one is lower. Technically, it's possible, but it's really
sorting.
Sorting. It's a very complex process.
Binning, I believe they call it.
Yeah, binning indeed. This only happens on like the high-end GPUs, like something like Lightning.
Yes.
But on most GPUs, it's not possible, because you get a PCB with the GPU on there, and then you see how much it can do.
Yeah.
So basically, after the product is manufactured, so even the cooling is on there, we can test. So what is this capable of?
Yeah.
And capable means stable.
Yes.
I mean,
Sustained performance.
Yeah, so we have internal in the factory, we have benchmarks, burn-in benchmarks or test runs to select them.
Yes.
And that's also why you see in MSI we have 3 different cards. Maybe, I'm not sure, Peter, what the next slide is. Hey, yeah. Okay, well, let's maybe first talk about this.
Yeah, so we have Mac, and so let's talk about the changes to the MSI lineup based on this information. So as you can see, we've got 2 SKUs, like most of the time, you know, we've got one OC version and we've got a non-OC version. And so the non-OC version you can see has, well, the reference spec from AMD. It has the reference clock speeds, and it also has the 12 Gbps memory speeds.
Jet has a question. I'm interested in the 5600. I don't like the looks of gaming. Mac is very nice. Yes. How much difference between there between the two?
Well, now watch now, and you'll find out. Yeah. So the Mac non-OC version you see on the right side, that one has the reference basically. So the stock values from AMD. The OC version, as you can see, the clock speeds are higher, but there's a little asterisk there, which basically means this card, if you buy it now, it will have the outdated VBIOS. Yes. So this one will need to have an update.
Let's say if you buy it today, because there is already stock in the market, yes. So at your local store you can probably purchase one of these. Yes. And we decided for the OC version to increase the clock speeds according to AMD new BIOS.
Yes. Yeah.
But there will be a second shipment later on.
Yeah, and that one you don't have to update.
You don't have to update.
Because there, of course, because it will come from the factory. I think that batch will be produced after Chinese New Year.
Yes. So basically beginning of February, middle of February it will arrive in everywhere.
Exactly.
Everywhere.
And that's, you know, then all these things, this is how it then normally would go, is that all the decisions are final, the BIOS is finalized, everything is as it should be. And so you've got nothing to worry about. You don't have to do any updates. You will have the new VBIOS already on there by default. So, however, as you can see, the memory speed stays at 12 Gbps. Now, why do we do this? Because we want to ensure that you get stable performance. There's a risk involved with updating it to, or upping it, basically, the speed to 14 Gbps. Potentially, this can cause memory stability issues. Yeah. And when we found out about this, of course, our engineers also dove into this to see, is this possible? This is interesting. But they found that there was actually quite a significant possible issue with a lot of these cards. So we decided, you know, it's better to be safe, because we want to be able to guarantee you that it works as intended, and you get no issues.
I see a good question. So how do I know if I need to update my MSI 5600 XT? Well, that's a good question, and it's actually quite simple, because you just install either Live Update or Dragon Center, the MSI software. Both have the Live Update module. Yeah. And if you run Live Update and it finds a new BIOS, VBIOS for the graphics card, it will update it, it will flash it.
Well, it will tell you about it first. It will just show, hey, there's a new BIOS. And
later we're going to show you.
Yeah, and then you still have the option to choose, do I want to update or not? I mean, it doesn't do it without your permission. Yeah. But indeed, we will show you the process of how to do it.
We're going to try to show, because we didn't test this, right?
No, exactly. So we are going to be, you know, like, well, we want it to be like this, you know, like, okay, so what if we were ones that bought a card and we got it home, and we heard about this update, and we wanted to apply it. So how does that work?
Probably we will fail.
Knowing us, we will. And it's probably not even the fault of the card or the software, it's probably our fault, but who knows? Anyway, so we wanted to do it from the perspective of indeed somebody who just bought the card and wants to apply this update. And how does that work? So we're going to show you step by step how that process works. Basically, there's only 2 models that need the update. It's the RX 5600 XT Mac OC that you see here, and it's the Gaming X version.
People want to see the teardown, can we?
No, you need patience.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so as you can see, Mac OC also, it will need an update. It will get higher clock speeds, a little bit higher power usage, but the thermal design should be able to handle it easily.
Yes.
Now then, on to gaming.
So, sorry, let me interrupt you. So the question, what's the difference between Mac and gaming? The gaming card, the one we have here as well,
Yes.
has a much beefier cooling. So
Yes.
it has two 8-pin power. So basically it can achieve higher clock speeds. Sustainable higher clock speeds.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
and
the
it has
big
more
difference.
cooling capacity.
Yes.
It will be more silent while doing it, of
Well,
course.
I would say, I didn't see any benchmarks particular of this card because we don't have the Mac version here.
No.
But I would say the noise is maybe the same, but then the performance is higher on gaming.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
maybe the fans on Mac should have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah,
But indeed,
yeah.
they're both silent. It's just that on gaming it's even more silent, and the fans will stop if it's even below 60 degrees.
Yes. Okay.
Because zero frozer.
So let's talk a little bit about specs.
Yes. So here you see the lineup of the gaming. So as you can see, starting on the right side, the gaming non-X. That one has a little bit higher clock speeds than the Mac OC.
I couldn't find the power limit
No. Yeah.
because we don't have this card. So yeah.
Yeah. And of course, these do not get a BIOS update. They don't require it. So if you get that one, you're fine. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Then you got the Gaming X. So the Gaming X now has a power limit of 160 watts. This was 135 watts. So
Yes.
it's up by 25 watts.
Yeah.
And the clock speed, the boost clock speed, will now be 1750.
I think it was 1620
1620 or something
yeah,
like that.
1620.
Yeah. So it's about 130 megahertz up, which is quite a nice boost.
And this is higher than the increased power clocks of the, let's say, the increased clocks with AMD introduced.
Yeah. Much higher.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because of course also our thermal design and the card itself, the custom PCB, all of that adds to the fact that we can push it quite high. Yeah. But still, the memory speed we have kept at 12 Gbps.
Yes, for this one.
Because again, we want to ensure that you have stable performance. If there's any sign of issues, I did hear from our engineers just today as well that they will keep looking into it, and they wanted me to say that if they did find a way to make it so that it's stable, and they're still also talking with AMD about it, of course, if they were able and are able in the future to make a way to make it stable at 14 Gbps, they will roll that out for you because it is a nice performance bump.
Somebody found a spelling mistake.
Where?
February.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Anyway. So the Gaming X does also require an update. So again, we'll show you that later because we have that exact card here.
We have the, let's say, the Gaming X without BIOS update here.
Yes, yeah, as you would get it from the shop if it's the first batch.
I think what's quite interesting is the benchmark.
Yes, so at the bottom, you can also
times
see...
by graphics, right?
Yeah, so only graphics, so this is without
Maybe
CPU.
you can move a little bit?
Which way?
Yeah, like this. Yeah, times by graphics.
Yeah, there you go. So as you can see below the Gaming X,
it was basically 6,900 before the BIOS update.
Yeah, and after it jumped to 2,737. So that's quite a nice bump. I wish we had time, or we actually put like percentages here.
This launched yesterday, so everything is really last moment.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's it's a nice performance bump.
Absolutely.
And then on the left side we have the Gaming Z. So this is something that we decided that it's I'm not even sure if it's 100% final yet. It's something that we are looking into because we do want to see if we can also make a version with the 14 Gbps memory. And if we can do that, that's the Gaming Z.
We can, but we are not 100% sure how and what.
We're still looking into it. Again, we want a stable solution, not a fast one. That one is currently.
I saw this news already popping up on several websites, and I was like, "This is still not 100% final." So
maybe it's rumors, but that's fine. Again, but this is a nice scenario which shows you what if we were able to do the 14 Gbps because the clock speeds and the power usage are the same as the Gaming X.
Stop! People are worried that they cannot win because he says too many viewers. So we're going to give more away, and we do now a giveaway.
All right, that's fine.
I mean that's the fix, right?
Go ahead.
Again. Too difficult name? You?
No.
Easy names me.
You just do the name.
Lucky draw, running. Oh yeah,
Right.
let me put this.
Put the visual on.
Yeah.
Here we go. So if you want to win, go to msi.com/2/insider. Make sure you subscribe, like, and do everything the thing asks. The more actions you perform, the more chance you have to win.
Yeah, and the winner for the first.
Oh, that was not that was not
I
hard.
know. That's why I'm giving it away.
Right.
It's Quantum Plays.
Quantum Plays.
Yeah, watching on YouTube. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah, we will send in the coming days. We will send you the Steam
Code.
Yeah, it's a Steam code.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Steam code. Yeah, for this game. And yeah, more to win.
Yeah, if you want to win, make sure you go to the link.
You see, nice solution, Eric. That's how we fix it.
Yeah. Eric's all about the solution.
Well, and the problems.
Yeah, true.
So, continue, Peter.
Right. So here's a nice view of what happens and what the effect is of this faster memory. Because there you can see at the bottom, no other of the variables change. So it has the same clock speeds, the same power budget, but it has the faster memory. And at the very bottom you can see it then gets, around 450 extra marks, which is, an even bigger jump than you get, a little bit of a bigger jump than you get with just upping the clock speed. So again, it is worthwhile, definitely. But the point is, you want to make sure that if we're able to do it, it's stable and it's not going to crash on you. It's not going to cause you issues. It's not going to cause you green screen or whatever kind of memory issues you can have. So again, we're still looking into this, and we want to have a way to do it in a stable fashion so we can ensure that you can actually use this.
Yeah, so this product will probably ship in February because of Chinese New Year.
Yeah, again, factories are completely closed right now. There's nothing happening there. The first wave that can actually be produced will be, next week or the week after that, beginning of February. It still has to ship. So, yeah, this will take time.
Peter.
Eric.
We're going to do another lucky draw.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean...
Are you trying to get rid of him? Of
them
codes?
or the codes? No. We don't have so many codes.
Okay.
This one is for you.
Akame 12.
Yeah, congratulations, Akame 12.
On Mixer, actually. Well, he followed us on Mixer, actually. Yeah. So I don't know if he's watching there. But congrats. We'll send you the code.
Yeah, so that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Let's continue then. I think maybe, is that the end of the presentation? I think so.
No.
It's not?
Yeah, it is this. But this is the sign that...
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So.
Unboxing, right?
No. Screwdriver.
Well, first, it's still in the box.
Okay, hurry.
Calm down. Right. So, here's a good example of what you shouldn't do at home when you buy this product.
Don't invite Eric.
Well, that, and also not the first thing you should do is not take out a screwdriver and start, taking the thing apart. That's not really usually the best thing to do.
So some things Peter finds, or thank you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think this is.
I think everybody's here for the card and for you
anyway,
trying to.
I will do this.
Destroy it.
Product registration. So you. I think they're going to do some nice actions with it. You can also win some codes. And
yeah. It's better for if you ever do need support. It's much easier that way.
Yeah.
Because it goes directly through our support center.
Black envelope.
Yeah. Black
Normally
envelope.
with Chinese New Year you get a red envelope, right? And there's money in.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I don't work in a Chinese.
So
factory.
we have a quick guide.
Yes.
Quick user manual. Probably how you need to put it in your PC. I think everybody knows.
It is.
How to upgrade your PC with a nice graphics card.
With a new graphics card.
Yeah.
So it's kind of also like a quick guide, but it's more visual. Not just text showing you.
It's for the people
do this.
Yeah.
This is more about if you like.
It's a cartoon.
A graphics, a more graphical
hey,
guide.
check. Afterburner.
Yeah, Afterburner's in there. Yeah. So it's not just how to install it. It's also how to get the most out of it. It's quite good.
And some flyer brochure thing for keyboards.
Our gaming gear,
monitors,
and monitors indeed. So
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Right. Let's get to the main event. I don't wanna. I feel sorry for it. Let's first have a look at the card itself before it's being taken apart and on the outside. Can we? I don't know. Does it make sense to do a close-up view? Let's see, because we've kind of like borked the table full of stuff. Maybe I can move this here first. A bit more space. So as you can see, well, if you know the 5700 XT, it looks very similar.
That's not smart.
It's the more elegant design, I would say, for the gaming card. The inside is still very much a Twin Frozr 7, though. And as you can see, this is really thick, this heatsink. Look at that. It's I think it's about 3 slots, I would say. Right?
Yeah, well, we always call
slots.
something like this like 2.4 or 2.5 slots, depending on the thickness.
But in this case, I think it's a solid 3.
That's also possible,
Yes.
but in some cases you don't lose the full 3 slots, so there is always some
space in between
for airflow.
Yeah, if you want multiple cards, but I mean, who does that these days?
Well, if you are into content creation, then that's important. And I know
on older cards it was more of a thing.
Yeah.
To be honest, now it's less supported.
Sure,
I mean, it's more of a hassle.
But it's still possible if the game developer wants to do this.
Yes.
They can do this in DirectX 12.
That's true. Yes, you can even mix and match.
Yeah.
Normally you would need 2 of the exact same GPUs for to have it work properly.
Is it heavy?
It is. It's quite heavy. It's like I said. It's.
Can I?
No, because I know what you're gonna do. I just want to go.
I tried.
I know. I just want to go over some of the features real quick. As you can see, it has the anti-bending strip. Again, this is not a luxury on a card like this because it is relatively heavy. But this also ensures. I mean, it runs all the length of the card here. The thick black metal guard, basically. Which also functions as a heatsink for the memory. This runs all the length of the card, and there are screws going through the backplate and into this. Why do you do that?
Preparing.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. Eric can't wait to get started. But this really ensures that your card, there's no sagging at all. So this really, even though this is really heavy, there's no movement. You know, I can try and twist and bend it. It's really solid. The build quality is really, really good, and we make sure it is. We make a point out of that. The backplate also has thermal pads in between the PCB and the backplate. So the backplate will actually help if you have airflow a little bit to cool the PCB, the GPU basically. So it's a little bit of passive cooling effect. Like Eric already mentioned, there's 2 8-pin connectors here that you need to connect before if you build the card into your PC.
Yeah, so this is the gaming card, and the gaming has a custom PCB.
Yes.
And the Mac, yeah, I was sorry. We don't have any. So the Mac card has I think a reference PC, right? And only one
I think so, yeah.
power connector.
Yeah.
Should be.
Well, either that or maybe an 8-pin and a 6-pin. I'm not 100% sure. We can.
I can show. I mean, this is 5700, so it's not representative, but still people get an idea. You continue.
Okay. So at the back you can see inside the heatsink, of course, there are some of the same elements you will see on our other Twin Frozr cards. So these are the airflow control little dents basically in the fins. So these will push the air basically more directly onto the heat pipes, left and right. So that's of course the heat pipes basically just transfer the heat from the GPU to wherever they run in the heatsink. And then the fins take the heat off the heat pipes, and that's how you dissipate heat. And of course the fans, very important, and these are 2 Torx 3.0 fans. They will spin this way, by the way. Well, they're our latest version of basically the best.
You see how
fans.
small it is?
Yeah, it's really small.
Well, a disclaimer, this is the 5700.
Yeah.
So
the 5700 Mac indeed has a single 8-pin. So I'm expecting the 5600 XT also probably has
It has.
Yeah, one single 8-pin.
And I believe also that the cooler and the PCB size will be quite similar. So maybe you can compare them.
Yeah, well, you mean between 5600 and 5700?
Yes. I think there will not be a lot of difference.
No, because it didn't make sense to make a whole new tooling, I think, for this.
Because the GPU is the same, I expect.
It's both Navi 10.
No, I suspect.
It has the same amount of cores, so there's actually a lot of similarities.
So maybe the PCB is also compatible.
No, I don't know if it's compatible.
Could be, right?
There might be some changes. Usually they do make some optimizations.
Yeah, of
some
course,
small changes.
Yes.
Because you have your memory bus is different. You have a different amount of memory on there, so there are definitely some differences.
Yeah.
But other than that, on the GPU itself and how much power it's maybe able to use.
Yeah, see, they're saying, shut up, Peter, give me.
It's one person saying that.
Well, that's enough. It's CJ.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's get to it then. So this one we will let Eric take apart. Let's do that now, and then later on we also have one here on our test bench in front of us, and this one Eric is not allowed to touch because that one actually needs to work.
I think maybe you can take it better apart because we don't have.
Yep.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, we don't have a webcam here.
Ooh.
We have this one. Let me.
Are you caving under the pressure?
No. I mean.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of space here, and the webcam is over there.
Where do we start? Actually, you didn't tell me I was supposed to be doing this, so I'm.
Yeah. Hey, I practiced before. Also not.
I don't know.
Just come. Why? This doesn't fit? This doesn't fit.
I'm not an engineer, trust me.
Does it support the same GPU's boost?
You answer questions while I do this.
I don't know anything about VGA. Okay. Does this support the same GPU boost feature like the 5700 XT has? Yes, it does.
Although it's not called GPU boost, I think.
No.
That's actually an NVIDIA feature.
This is, it's the marketing name for NVIDIA, but that is also...
The principle is the same.
Yeah, and that's also why I think, manual overclocking is not like it used to be, because all these GPUs have some sort of boost function.
Yes.
So they can very fast reach very high clock speeds.
Well, they will see what they can reach given the headroom that they have.
Depending on the cooler.
And in the past, you had a fixed clock speed, and that was pretty much it.
Yes.
And so that meant that you actually had on some cards, which had good cooling and good VRMs and stuff like that.
People are disappointed. They want to see me.
You actually had a lot of headroom.
They don't want to see me, but probably me failing.
Probably, yeah. You want to see if you cave under the pressure. But yeah, all GPUs, they would have more headroom for you to find and to exploit basically with a program like Afterburner. These days, both AMD and NVIDIA have found ways to make a GPU boost program that will try to boost up as high as it can already for you. So it's like automatic overclocking out of the box. So for you, that's actually quite good, and for most people, because let's face it, most people don't do overclocking, right? Most people just buy a graphics card and they want a game.
To the detailed camera.
Yeah. They just want a GPU and a game on it, and this way they get more performance out of the box. So hey, that's good, right? But yeah, at the same time, overclocking itself becomes a little bit less. Exciting, I guess. There's less gains to be had. Let's put it that way.
People are asking about benchmarks, but we will do that after we break this card.
We attempt to break.
Are you already unscrewing the
probably
CPU?
The heatsink
of the GPU?
The CPU, yes.
You can remove the backplate like this.
Probably, but I don't know. Let's see. There we go.
Uh-oh.
I'm not 100% sure if I can like this, or if it's still fixed. Because it does feel, or maybe it's just sticky. I'm probably sticking to the thing. No, that's fine.
So this is how you get it?
I think I'd rather, no, never mind. I was gonna say, I think I'd rather remove those screws in the middle as well, but there we go. It's the thermal pads and everything else as well. So here's the underside, and actually half of the thermal pads are still on here, as you can see. So this is, I believe, the top row of memory modules, These is the backside of the other memory modules, and this is where the GPU is located.
So in the past there are a lot of VGA cards with backplates, and they claim it's for cooling, but that's not the case because there is no connection between it.
No.
So actually it's more like a heat trap.
Yes.
Backplate basically has two functions. It's for stability.
Yeah.
Well, maybe three. Looks as well. Because that's if you put your PC on the floor, that's the side you look at when it's built in the PC and you don't have a vertical VGA card. And then the third part, what we are doing with the thermal pads is extra cooling.
Making it more of a useful feature as
Indeed.
well. Not just something for looks, but also functional.
And for those who watched the stream earlier, all the small things add up to making the GPU cooler.
Yes.
And making GPU cooler basically means it can run at a higher sustained clock speed. So it can achieve.
Quiet.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a leaf blower in your room because
that's a long time ago, right?
You might wonder why is this so glossy, and that's because there's a protective layer of film on this.
Can we remove it?
Probably you can, but I don't think there's any point to it.
That's what I did last week. Even when there was no point.
But as you can see, that's actually where the thermal pads are located, and I can maybe pull one of them off as well, that's where they actually stopped. It's like they cut it out. So that's where you're directly onto the metal. The reason why they put the film on the rest is because if for any reason the backplate, it's metal of course, touches some of the components on the back of the PCB, you'll get a short circuit. And
free RGB light.
Yeah, for a second or something. And of course that's what you want to avoid. So that's why that is actually needed. However, because we also know that it's not gonna. This is actually gonna interfere with thermal conductivity to the backplate. So at the point where actually the there we go, the thermal pads are located, they actually cut out this protective film to make sure that the heat can actually be transferred to the backplate. So. Is the backplate also going to heat with the graphics card? So yes, a little bit. That's how you know.
It's for the heat transfer.
Well, that's how you know it works. If it gets hot, that means it's taking heat off the PCB, which means it's helping. And then it depends if you have airflow in your case, then it will help to actually dissipate some heat. But it acts like kind of like a passive heatsink.
Yeah.
Like there's a heatsink on this graphics card, but without the fans, it would be passive, right? So it depends. If there's no airflow, it's not going to do much. The more airflow you have, provided by fans, for example, that's when it gets efficient. So same thing goes for the backplate.
So what's next? Removing
the rest of the thermal pads, maybe.
I thought they were chewing gums.
Wow. Yeah, these are really thick boys as well, and they're quite sticky. So I'll just make sure I keep them in place.
Maybe you can show one for the detailed cam.
Yeah. As you can see, they're being pushed onto the components, and they're quite thick. I mean, I know that the thinner they are, the more efficient they are.
When it's glowing red, you know your GPU is working.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. You also know that you probably might be, stressing it a bit too hard or too much, but who knows? All right, let's continue because the main part I want to get to is removing the heatsink off the front.
So maybe you can show the back of the PCB.
Yeah, I can.
Without the...
So this is the back of the PCB.
So what did you remove?
The backplate.
No, the plastic thingy.
Oh, that. There's a little protector on the PCIe connector here. So that's I just took that off because then you get a clear view of okay, this is the side you usually stick into the motherboard and. But as you can see, here on the backside is always nice. Here you can pretty much see how much power phases it has. These are probably, I think the chokes are located here, and then the MOSFETs are under here, and some other components here. So you can, if you're an expert in this, like people like Buildzoid, they love things like this, right? They can analyze the whole PCB based on this. So anyway, let's continue with the front. And to do that, we have to remove another few screws.
Yeah, from the back.
Yeah, and these are basically tension screws to pressure mount the
Maybe you can show them.
Yeah, there's a little spring attached to them as well. Not sure if this is clear enough.
Yeah.
There you go. So there's a little spring around it. So that actually means that when you screw it in, it's pulling. So it adds to the tension, the mounting pressure. I think it's a technical term. Because you need mounting pressure because you want to make sure that the heatsink is actually being pressed up against the GPU for best contact, and of course also the memory modules and everything else that needs to be cooled. VRM, those are usually the components that get the
moment of
hottest.
truth.
How do you mean?
Well, that will be later, tomorrow probably, when we try to put it back together.
Yeah. So let's see if we can get a little bit of movement going on here. I'm not sure if there's actually more at the back. I can't see any other screws. It's been a while since I did a disconnecting of, a teardown of a graphics card.
Can I?
No, I think I've got it.
Because I don't care.
I know. So there, as you can see, as I pull it apart, maybe you can do the close-up cam.
Yeah.
There are actually, there's one cable connected, and at the back, how do I show this? There's another one. So these are either for RGB or for fans. And I think the one at the back is for the fans.
Yes.
And the one at the top here, or at the side basically, that's for the RGB. So I can just carefully disconnect them, I think. There we go, that's one.
This is a good question, Gamers Club. Is it a good idea to open and clean the graphics cards in 2 years' time maybe and apply new thermal paste? I don't think it's a good idea.
It depends. If you're a technical guy who understands how this works and who is confident you can do it without causing damage, I don't see any issues with it. The problem is that if you do it and you cause damage, and then you try to claim it under warranty, that's when you might encounter some problems. So make sure that if you want to do that, it's up to you. You know, it's your decision, it's your graphics card. But if you do damage it, it's the same with if you buy a card like this and you want to take off the cooler and stuff like that to build it into a water block, you know, a custom water cooling card. You can do it. But if under inspection, for example, we find out, hey, you scratched the PCB with your with a tool, and that's causing a short circuit or something like that, yeah, I mean, then you're going to lose your warranty, of course.
So some people were complaining about audio, Crosstalk. This is fixed.
Should be, at least.
My mistake.
Yeah. So this is the PCB now, as you can see. It still has the protective bracket on it. This was what I was talking about. It's connected to the I/O bracket. So this is the anti-bending strip, which then turns into quite a massive heatsink, which covers the memory modules and also adds some of the tensile strength to the card. So it's actually really hard to, even though it's just a PCB with a bit of metal, it's really rigid. And that's exactly what this part does.
Yeah, so question in the chat. Actually, I wanted to comment first on something else. Because a lot of VGA cards are more heavy. So that's why they need the anti-bending plate.
Yeah.
Because if you normally put it in a PC, there's a lot of weight.
Anti-bending plate is one thing. Again, it's like the cooler, right? It's more things that add to it. Even the backplate helps a lot with making the card stronger and preventing it from bending, because by screwing it, by putting screws in from the backplate through the PCB and into the heatsink, you kind of put a tension on the PCB, and you make sure that it's kind of like, it's in between those two layers, and that makes it much harder. In old graphics cards, basically you had a PCB and you had a cooler hanging from it, and the cooler got heavier and heavier, and the PCB by itself is actually not meant to carry a lot of weight. So that's why you got the bending.
Neo is this is the strangest Call of Duty gameplay I've ever seen.
But well, the graphics sure are realistic. I know.
Well, we were still planning to do some benchmarks on this card, but Call of Duty, we didn't have time to install it anymore, so that's not going to happen today. Sorry.
Probably not. No. Sorry about that.
Find another channel.
Oh. Meant to be just chatting. Yeah. Well, actually, we did mean to do some benchmarks and show you some gameplay, but I don't think we're gonna get to that part.
That's because of this this launch.
Yeah, the whole story.
Did I say drama?
No. Well, you did now.
Disaster.
You want to keep going?
Anyway, you know why I'm here in the live stream? I can finally relax.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
When I open my mailbox, I see so many emails, questions, and like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we have the appropriate screws to take.
Talks?
I'm not even sure when looking at it.
Can I have a look?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. I mean,
Well,
I
we
know
have a
lot of
screwdriver. What if you put it between it?
Well, first you have to see if there's any movement at all without the screwdriver. Maybe you just need to unfasten the screws where it connects to the I/O panel.
That's where I would start.
Yeah, because
So?
there I can see some screws.
Yeah.
Just to show you guys what I'm talking about. So these two screws are holding this thing in place with the I/O panel. But if you look on this side,
maybe we can show
there are some holes like this, but there's no clear. I don't really see if I'm supposed to take these out and which connectors. It's not really clear, is it?
no preparation.
Let's see if I can get a clear.
It's upside down.
Here you go. So it's just round. There's no. It's not like a Phillips head or not torx.
Maybe we put it in a top cam so people can see how big it is.
It's not big, but that's fine.
Well, the die size is pretty big.
Oh no, actually that's not too bad. Die size. Some of the Turing cards are I think
of
bigger.
course, because they're probably 12 nanometers.
Yes.
And it's 7.
Yeah. And I have to be careful because I don't.
That will also be quite interesting for vendors. It's always interesting to make the step to a new production node,
Process,
manufacturing process,
yeah.
because the die is not only smaller, so in the same size they can fit much more transistors.
Yes.
You probably, if you make the new version or new GPU smaller, it's cheaper.
Because you use less resources.
Well, no, because you can have more chips from
one wafer.
Yeah,
exactly. Well,
silicon.
it's the same point made differently. All right, let's see. So I've removed those two screws. Let's see if I can get some movement going on. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. So, okay, so that was just holding it in place here in the I/O panel. So as you can see, I've now taken the anti-bending strip and memory heatsink off. Here you can also see, by the way, there's some thermal pads on this side, and here you can see that there's a little bit of greasy stuff. So these thermal pads are actually quite greasy, so the harder you squeeze them, if you squeeze them hard enough and the mounting pressure is high enough, the grease will actually come out. But those are still actually on the card, so let me show you that. Here we go. So those are actually still on these modules. I can peel it off.
the memory modules.
Yes. As you can see, here you go. And actually, you can see quite interestingly at the top.
Good question from Edwin. Sorry again, I keep interrupting you.
That's fine.
What brand of cooling paste are you using on our cards?
That's secret.
That's,
if we tell you,
yeah.
we'd have to kill you.
Yeah, we're using some special formula.
We've done, not, I want to say we, but we didn't do it.
No.
Our thermal testing team and our engineers have done a lot of testing, spent a lot of time. They've tested, I don't know, I've seen lists of thermal pastes, of different compounds. And yeah, they selected one which fits our requirements best. But it's not something you can buy on the shelf. So that's also why we wouldn't be able to say it's I don't know, it's whatever. It is not liquid metal, as you can see, but it's also not something you can buy on the shelf. You don't want to have that there. No, probably not. No, because that also brings different challenges or issues. Thing I wanted to point out is, of course, remember this card has 6 gigs of RAM, right? So each module here is 1 gig because it has 6 of them. Because here's 3, and on the other side there's also 3.
Ah, you broke it.
Oh my god, I broke it. Yeah.
RMA.
Yeah, that's RMA. But as you can see here, there are actually 2 empty spots. So it could very well be indeed that this is a very similar design of the PCB based on the 5700, which had 8 gigs of RAM.
Yes.
Which on that design would sit right there.
Yeah.
Also means that it's not important, or actually not necessary, to have a thermal pad here because there's nothing here.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you look at this,
there's a little standoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. Maybe you show. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why there's a little standoff here, basically.
And then we always have the choice: are we going to mold this kind of anti-bending strip and cooling strip again for the new PCB without the 2 memory chips, or we're going to reuse the same material?
Yeah.
And yeah, there are some advantages and disadvantages.
I'm seeing some blame Peter. Is that because I broke the?
Yes.
Oh my God, the thermal pad.
Yeah. So a disadvantage is that you probably have a much beefier cooler on a less powerful GPU.
Yeah. So it's
and this is higher cost for what you actually need. And of course, the benefit for you guys is that you can overclock more, or at least it has more headroom,
or it's more silent even.
Yeah, indeed.
Let's just say it's pretty much only benefits. However, for us, it can be in this case that it was actually cheaper to reuse the same design and have it's maybe a bit overkill, but fine. You get more headroom because. Making a new cooler, doing the tooling for it and stuff like that also costs money.
Not only money, but also time to the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially now, we already told everybody it's Chinese New Year.
Yes.
And this, you probably heard about this new disease, coronavirus. So they already tell you that Jia is in China right now. We're not sure. He WhatsApped us today, probably via VPN.
Yeah.
And he said
he had a nasty cough, right?
He said, "I'm not sure if I can come back."
Yeah, maybe he'll be in quarantine.
Yeah. Anyway, so with Chinese New Year, what's important to understand is that everybody is moving back to their family. So a lot of people are working at the East Coast. A lot of factories are there, Beijing, all those cities, Shanghai. So they're moving back they're traveling back to the families, which are, for example, in middle or East China. And a lot of them are not going back, so they're not returning to the factories. So around Chinese New Year, which normally is somewhere in end of January, beginning of February, people are laughing. I will have an epidemic. Yeah. So around this Chinese New Year, labor costs will increase.
Yep.
Also, how do you say that? The lead time for materials from other factories, because, for example, the backplate, we don't have an iron factory or ore mine in we're not making ourselves. So we ask a factory, can you please make it? These dimensions, this look and feel, etc. But around Chinese New Year, the lead time will increase, etc.
For everything, and this is the same for even Apple. Everything is affected by this. So and it's a yearly thing also. So you already know it's going to happen when it's Chinese New Year. You can plan for it. So this is normal.
And that's also why with this VGA card particularly, because it launched so close before Chinese New Year, we had a choice. Yep. And I don't know why they made it. This can be cost, can be lead time. I think lead time is a very important factor.
It's both.
Probably it's compatible. Yeah,
it's a balance.
And this is for all vendors, not only for MSI.
Yeah. You could see. I think I also saw some reviews, and I think for most of the AIBs actually they have a similar, if not the same, design as 5700 series, and that's not a bad thing. I think in this case it's actually a benefit.
If you open new MSI hardware, you need to have a biosuit.
Yeah. Tell people to use support brackets because memory right down corner is damaged if you don't use support brackets. Not sure what you mean there, Jakura, me too. Anyway, let's maybe I can show them the underside of the heatsink as well because I haven't shown that in the close-up view.
Yes, so I can play with.
View.
Yeah, sorry. Detailed cam.
Yes.
Why are you calling it close-up view if it's labeled detailed cam?
I don't see the label.
It's labeled detailed cam.
That's fine.
You're waking me up.
I don't want to wake you from your slumber. All right, so here's the underside of the heatsink, and as you can see, this is of course where the GPU will be, where the little thermal grease spot is, and around it is where you'll have the memory modules.
Do you remember before we started the stream you said, Erik, get some toilet paper?
Yeah.
Did Erik do that?
Maybe, but
No.
I probably don't want to know what happened to it.
I want to clean the GPU, but
Yeah, it's fine. It's
let me.
okay. No, don't worry about it. There's
should
no
be.
need.
It should be close.
There's no need.
You talk.
Bye. Anyway, some of the things we did this generation as well is, if you compare it to the last generation, underside of the heatsink, the heat pipes, we actually put them closer together. This means that there's actually less space in between each pipe, basically going to waste, because all the space you have between the pipes is actually not used. It's only where the pipe contacts this cold plate, or the base plate that touches the GPU. That's the only place where it actually takes the heat off the GPU and this plate. So the more contact area and surface area you have, the better and more efficient these heat pipes will be able to do their job, which is transferring the heat away from this part, from the GPU, and then transporting it to wherever they run in the heatsink. So as you can see, this one runs all the way over here. So it basically spreads the heat along these fins here and above it. And of course you can see there's actually quite a lot of heat pipes running along this card here. So yeah, it can handle a lot of heat. And then you have this plate here, which is somewhat similar to the GPU base plate. This actually covers the VRM component. So there's a little cutout here where you can see, Erik's still working on the PCB, but if the PCB was here as well, this I believe is where some caps are, some capacitors are sticking through. So that's why you need this hole. I can show you this here. Wow, that's so shiny, Erik, the GPU. But
well, maybe you can see the markings. It's probably very difficult.
I don't know. Maybe, let's see if we can. I don't think you can see the markings, but you can see it's very, very shiny. It's like a mirror finish. Well done, Erik.
So maybe last week when I cleaned the QB,
so maybe
the
this
CPU, maybe I hit a corner or something.
I don't know. Maybe this one is now broken as well. But what I was talking about is you see these holes basically in this plate of the heatsink.
I'm going to do a giveaway.
These capacitors are going through it, and the same goes for the what are these again? Chokes and the capacitors here, and then you have the MOSFETs. These are these little square things here. They're here. So yeah, I mean these things all produce heat as well. Especially the MOSFETs. So that's where you see this row of thermal pads is connected directly to this pipe, to this plate, and then it goes into the heatsink. So it's very, very efficient, and it covers all the hotspots, and that's the core of what makes this cooler so good. And you really don't need more than 2 fans, and again, this thermal, this heatsink is actually already overkill. So for this card, it's actually already way too good. I've seen tests that even before, what was it? Before the BIOS update, when the TDP, the power usage was even lower, this card actually, when running benchmarks, the fans would just start turning every now and again, and then it would stop again. So that means it's pretty much not even touching 60 degrees. So that tells you how much and how good the heatsink is for this card. Now with the BIOS update, it will go up to maybe 70, which is very low for a graphics card. But still, yeah, that means that there's a lot of thermal headroom still available.
That means we are going to do a giveaway.
Yes.
I already picked 2 winners. Well, not me, but the system. It's at random. Your turn.
Yeah, one doesn't have a nickname, at least not in our system, so we're going to have to use his normal name. Theophilo Francisco. So congratulations. You get a game code as well. And I think is one that's very active in the chat, right?
Not sure.
I'm not sure if it's
it's
the
nickname.
Same one.
No, this is Twitter.
Edwin on Air?
No, it's a different one.
Yeah, no, but Edwin on Air.
Yeah, but he could be.
I don't know. I see. Is this the Edwin in
Edwin
in the
K?
chat?
I think.
The thing is, this is we see this is your Twitter entry that actually got you the prize, but it could be that that's your Twitter account. So if it is you, really nice. I always
congratulations.
Love it. I always love it, especially when one of the more active people in the chat gets a prize as well.
The people who always complain.
Not really complain, no, but you know, they
Always
ask
the
good
difficult questions.
Yeah.
We don't know answers.
I
Anyway,
love it.
if you want to participate, go to msi.com/2/insider, or our spam bot will spam each 6 minutes something in the chat.
Yes.
You can still participate. And we have still more game codes.
Yeah, do we?
Yeah. What is the game again?
Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
Yes.
So
I don't know who designed this banner. I cannot read it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's just based on the visuals of the game itself.
Okay. Next.
It's their style.
Yes.
We love to complain. Of course you do.
Yeah, same here.
Right, so what's next then? I mean, we did a teardown a little bit. I don't really want to take the cooler apart anymore.
Why not?
Because then, well, the thing is, I would have to
That's
get
the
in
difference.
between the fans.
If Erik is doing an
Here you go.
how to do this?
If Erik is doing it, show us how.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know how. It's just, it's gonna suck. No, you need to get a screwdriver in between the fans.
Oh my God.
In between the fan blades.
those three.
No, I'm not sure if those three or if it's the ones at the side actually. I think the ones at the sides.
Did you already show the wavy heatsink?
So maybe you need to take it off.
Yeah, but there is cooling paste on it, so I cannot put it like this, can I?
Oh, you probably can, but it will. You'll need
So-
to clean it later. I thought you had toilet paper.
No.
You had a cloth.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
you don't use it.
Oh, I can do that. You just talk about other stuff.
See, people saying, are you saying use a hammer?
Yeah, you do the benchmark stuff.
I do not have the game at all. What do you mean you do the benchmark stuff?
Yeah, we have some benchmarks to show, right?
Yeah, but I need a different view for that.
Yeah. Moment. Okay. So I will be busy.
Don't do it!
I will be busy. PPT.
Don't worry, guys. It's just a cooler. I've got the PCB right here. He won't touch it. That's fine. The cooler are usually things we can touch. If we bend some metal,
I think
that's
tomorrow
fine.
I take a day off when
We'll bend it back.
when somebody has to put this together.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, let's look at the card. Well, we just had a look at it. The I/O. I'm not sure if we covered it already. 3 display ports, 1 HDMI. I believe display ports are 1.4, and the HDMI will be 2.0B or something like that, right? Or 2.0 at least. Anyway, so you know what you can connect.
This is going.
Now let's see some benchmarks. So we borrowed some benchmarks actually from our Dutch media colleagues, Hardware Info, because what we're gonna be doing now is, of course, giving you the answer to the question that was in the title of the stream. So is it a 1080p Ultra card? Or is it even a 1440p card? And like we said, you know, this title,
Somebody's going to kill me.
I am. We are no pressure. We are.
I'm doing good.
We've been preparing for the stream, of course, and I think 2 weeks ago or something, I already came up with this, and I was already speculating and thinking, I think this card could actually, you know, it's probably somewhere in between, and in some games 4040p will be quite okay.
Especially because we always do overclock versions like
Yeah,
Gaming
also,
X.
yeah. So you know, we thought, I think probably we can even stretch it to 4040p. Not sure if you'd have medium settings or ultra, but fine. And then of course now this BIOS update happened. So yeah, it's for me the answer is quite clear. But let's go through the numbers because that's what will show the truth of it. So you have multiple. There you go. You did it. You want to switch to that first? Erik. Oh guys, Erik's looking so proud. He's just like.
I did it! Anyway, yeah, maybe.
I'm proud of you.
Maybe.
Careful now.
So tomorrow I will take a day off
Careful
because.
now. No. You can. You need to take it off first so we can show the.
Yeah, but
the
I
heatsink.
don't know how this. Anyway, you just.
Oh, now I have to take over. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, for the detailed cam.
All right, let's go. So no detailed.
Yeah.
I called it even detailed cam now. So Erik removed some screws inside the, well basically if you look through the fans you will see some screw holes there as well. And that's how the...
I took one fan I unscrewed as well.
Yeah.
The other one is still there.
Oh, okay, there you go. So that's how you can get the front side off, the shroud as we call
in
it.
the shroud you can also find the RGB on top.
That's actually located here. And that's also where, if you look at the inside, that's where this little cable comes from, and which we disconnected earlier. So indeed, it runs to the RGB, and that's in there. So let's put this aside. Because what we really want to focus on is the heatsink itself. And so one fan is off. So as you can see, the fan is actually held in place by 3 screws here. And the shroud is being held in place by these 2 screw holes there. So this fan you could also remove, but you'd have to then also remove those 3 screws. But for what we want to show you, this is already quite good enough. Because as you can see, there's a, let's see how best to show this. There's a wave pattern in the heatsink. This is actually not bad.
Yeah, you need to keep it still, then it will probably focus. Yeah, like this.
Focus. Not really.
Oh,
anyway,
people tell me I need to go to the MSI factory.
Yeah, exactly.
I can work over there.
Yeah, you're qualified now. Hopefully one of our engineers is looking, so he might offer you a job.
Well, I'm not going to China.
Oh, who knows? Maybe they'll open a factory in the Netherlands for you.
No, well, I don't have a biosuit.
One-man factory in your home. Anyway, so there's a wave pattern here. And this is meant to break up the air as it goes down, because obviously the fans will push it down into the heatsink. And as you push it down, it can hit either a square, you know, here is it's a flat surface, which will cause a bit of turbulation. Or turbulence. Turbulation, that's not even a word. Turbulence. And turbulence, yes. you can hear as, well, that's what gives you the whoosh noise. So that actually gives you noise. So by doing it this way, you break up the airflow basically more evenly and more easily. So it basically just breaks on the wave and then goes down a bit smoother. So actually you prevent a lot of the turbulence, which again reduces the noise of the air passing through the heatsink. Yeah. So it's a quite clever contraption to do that. This also has the added effect, I believe, of slowing the airflow down a little bit, which means that the longer it circulates in the heatsink, the more heat it will take from the fins, and so again, the better the cooling will be. It's quite technical. It's quite whenever I get this information from our engineers, I always want to know more about it, because I'm not an aerodynamics engineer or something like that, and I'm always surprised how much work and knowledge goes into these things.
And they continue to tweak the designs.
Yes, yeah. They continue to find new ways, small ways, but you know, new ways to make the design better.
And all those small things, they add up, like the special cooling paste, the thermal pads, the anti-bending and cooling plate.
Also these little fins on the fan blades. That you can see here, that's typical for Torx 3.0. You know, there's one fan that has a little dip in it, and there's the other fan which has these little fins on it. And that's actually also, it's got to do with the airflow, and basically this helps focus the airflow before it gets pushed down by the fan after it. And also in a way that reduces turbulence, so again, reduces the noise, while at the same time making the airflow more focused, so that has positive effects for the actual cooling capacity and the way the heatsink works and the efficiency. So yeah, very technical, but really cool. And really sharp fins as well. But yeah, it's a really thick heatsink. Look at that. And like I said, you know, there are a lot of heat pipes running through it as well, which you can clearly see here.
People are expecting me to put it back together. That's not going to happen today.
Oh, come on, Eric. We still have some hours left. Yeah. No, that's probably, you don't want to wait around for that. Maybe we can record a video for that.
Maybe just give me.
There you go.
Oh. Thanks.
All right, so let's continue with the benchmarks, guys. This stream is all over the place. Let's continue with the benchmarks. So what you're seeing here is a gathered view, basically, of average FPS of, I think, like 10, 15 games, something like that. And this is the average, because obviously per game it will differ. A particularly heavy game, you'll have lower FPS than a more easygoing game that's not very GPU focused. And this is 1080p Ultra. So here you can see there's actually 2 bars of the 5600 XT. So there's one which is dark and there's one that's yellow. The dark one, I think the story is that the dark one is like the original one, as in with the normal BIOS, the one they got before, and then the yellow one is when they received the higher clock speeds and the higher power target BIOS. So as you can see, even without that, yes, 1080p Ultra, yes, definitely, easily 90-ish FPS. But with the update, it pushes it up to 100, which is quite significant. So as you can see, that's like a 11, almost 12% performance gain there. Quite significant. So 1080p Ultra, yes. But how about 1440p? Well, 1440p medium. So if you're okay with putting your settings to medium, also yes. Without the BIOS update, you still get 95-ish, so above 90 FPS on average. Again, this can differ per game title, and with the updated BIOS, even over 100, almost 110. So also, yes, 1440p medium, yes. What about Ultra? Because, come on, we want Ultra, right? Ultra graphics, that's what you should aim for on most games. We want that eye candy. So without the BIOS update, it's just above 60. So we would be tempted to say, yeah, that's acceptable. Depends per game, of course. Some games you want higher FPS. If you have a monitor which does 144 Hertz, of course you want to kind of get close to that. But in the heavier games, that's going to be difficult. But again, in most games, it's doable. With the BIOS update, it's even been pushed to above 70. So I would say comfortably, yes. 1440p Ultra for most games, I would comfortably recommend it.
I'm happy we don't do this on cam.
Yeah, you do it in the background.
Damn.
So, to answer the question then, you can very easily use it for 1440p Ultra, no problem. So what about 4K? Here you can really see, I think mostly because of the memory limitation, so it has less memory, and also the bandwidth of the memory is limited compared to 5700 series. And that's really starting to show when you get into the higher resolutions or games with really high res textures or something like that, which uses a lot of this VRAM. And of course the 5600 XT only has 6 gigabytes of that to begin with. So prior to the BIOS update, 50-ish, so yeah, we don't really recommend it. We would say go for 60, that's also why the red bar is there. 60 FPS is kind of what we recommend to have a good experience, a smooth gaming experience. At least 60. And even with the BIOS, yes, it's close to 60, but still it's not quite there. And again, probably mostly down to the memory, the lack of memory. And this is 4K medium, so this is not 4K Ultra, because there, I mean, I don't even think we included that one, because that's just, yeah.
Finished.
I think this one makes the point that 4K, it's not really the card for 4K. It's not surprising also, that's not what it's for. But we still wanted to show you the results for that and tell you the reasons why we don't recommend it for 4K. Ultimately, it's up to you. If you want to use it for 4K, that's fine. But we want you to know what kind of performance to expect so that you don't end up disappointed.
No, I think people always need to make the decision based on what monitor they have or they plan to have.
Yes.
So if they're
running, what games they want to play.
Yeah, if they're running if they have a 4K monitor, they're not going to run at 1080p.
Yeah. Opaque Man says, this is nice and all, but I'll stay with my 2070 Super Ventus. Yeah, I mean, 2070 Super, that's way more powerful than this card. So, yeah, that's I can understand that.
It's good for VR gaming. That's an interesting question.
I would say probably yes, based on the specs of VR of the 10 series, but that's still in my head.
The question is what kind of VR headset? Because if you're running
the latest one,
2K, 4K, not going of 2 times 4K, not going to happen.
No, because even 4K medium in normal games, it's struggling.
So if you have the old VR headsets, yes.
Yeah, Oculus Rift.
Yeah, indeed.
Or which one? HTC Vive. I think Vive even already used 1440p, didn't it? Yeah, so it was a little bit higher resolution. Yeah, that could probably work. But yeah, I mean, especially and also for upcoming games like Alex, the Half-Life VR game. I would expect, I don't know yet, but I would expect that they're trying to push the envelope. So I would expect that one will be quite demanding of graphics cards as well. So if you plan on playing those games, I'm not sure. You'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Somebody is playing CSGO at 20 FPS.
Yes. Yeah, that's indeed. We would call that unplayable. But who knows? Maybe you like it.
No, we don't have any ultra benchmarks for Assassin's Creed.
You can find that on multiple media outlets, so there's really no point in us doing it ourselves.
Interesting question. Is this card better than the RX Vega? Maybe you can show 4040p, because I think it shows in that one. No? Yeah,
depends on which you mean, because you say RX Vega, but which one? Vega 11, which one was that? Was that 64 or 56? So, I mean, 64... You can see here with the updated BIOS, it's actually quite close. It's not far off. So the RX Vega 64 actually beats it out a little bit.
Yeah, and this is 4040p Ultra.
This is 4040p Ultra indeed, so it beats it out a little bit, but not by much. So it's actually quite close. On medium, it's also not far behind. And on 1080p, the 64 Vega 64 is actually not in here, but I would think it's
we are
probably also somewhere just above it. Yeah.
So let's maybe talk about the upgrade process.
Yes, let's do that. Do we need to switch source? We have this PC. It's running. It's on, right?
It was on, it was running.
Oh, okay, let's see.
It is still on.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is going to be difficult. We didn't prepare anything. We just
there's no screen in front of me. I'll have to watch what I'm doing on the
You have to imagine what you're doing?
No, I have to watch what I'm doing on the capture screen, actually.
Can I make this bigger?
I don't even see my mouse moving.
What is this? I don't know.
I think maybe, can you not drag it down? Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah, apparently not.
And I don't want to pause.
The problem is I don't see my, let's see if it's actually, I think it might have, not sure if it crashed or if it's just frozen.
We just rebooted. This is always a risk because, the screen is still there. Uh-oh. So maybe...
It's the capture card that froze.
Oh, no.
Haha. I also don't know if it's booting. Let's just... oh, here we go. I think it was just sleeping.
Yeah,
it went
sleep
into
mode.
slumber mode. There we go.
You talked too long.
Probably, yeah. Wow, I can't see what I'm doing.
No?
No, because there's no...
Okay, so...
I'm sitting in front of my taskbar here as well.
I'm going to increase this a little bit.
We should have had a screen here.
Oh, it's not going to work.
No, we're going to have to make do with this. I'm assuming this is... Yeah, there we go. It's Dragon Center. So what you do, guys, is when you get this card,
Maybe you can show on that PC. If you push escape and you can go to the website where you download everything.
Yeah, okay, that's, yeah.
Internet Explorer.
Here we go.
Yeah, so let me see.
So you go to msi.com. And then you find...
So let's start at the beginning, because a lot of people joined who didn't saw the first part, where this is actually repeating.
That's okay.
Yeah, so if you bought one of the FIT 600 XT cards, some of them will get a BIOS.
The first batch of the Mac OC and the Gaming X, those are the only two models that will receive a BIOS update.
Yes.
The first batch, which is currently in stores, if you buy a card currently, that's what you get. You can, you don't even have to, but we recommend you do a BIOS update because you get more performance. Let's be clear, if you don't do the BIOS update, there's nothing wrong with these cards. They will run just fine. You're just not getting the most out of it. So if you want the most out of it, you download a BIOS update, and we're going to show you now how to do that, because the process is actually not that hard.
It's very easy.
Yes. So here we go. So you go to msi.com, our website of course, you look for the product. So RX 5600 XT Gaming X.
Too much, just 5600.
Yeah, you can even just put 5600 and it will probably find it.
Is this charged with the BIOS update? Yes, it applied to BIOS updates, but it did not have the Gaming Z included with also a memory boost.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for the website to load. So actually there's also a notification here, if you pay close attention, which says, due to a recent vBIOS update, we recommend upgrading your 5600 XT using MSI's Dragon Center software to unlock additional performance. Please follow these step-by-step instructions or contact MSI support if you run into any issues. So you go to support.
Then you're picking up the phone. Hello.
Yes. Hello. You go to utility and you'll have to select, well, I'm assuming everybody is using Windows 10. Windows 10, so your version, in our case it's that. There's actually two ways to do it. We recommend doing Dragon Center, that's what we're doing right now as well. So you just download this file, like so.
Merrick is asking if you update the vBIOS, so the BIOS for your VJ card,
yes.
and it kills your VJ card. Is it covered by warranty? Yes, I would say, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
it's completely safe as well. This is tested, this is verified, it should work. So unless, for example, during the flashing process you lose power, that's one of the really unfortunate ways you can break a card. Otherwise, the process may crash or something, but it should not kill the card.
Well, there are, you can flash a VJ card in different ways. You can either use a DOS utility or the AMD utility.
Yeah.
And there you really have to be very careful that you take the right BIOS file or the vBIOS, because each VJ card is different. So for example, Gaming Z, Gaming X, Mech, they're all different.
Yes.
So it's not only depending on GPU.
Don't try to apply one vBIOS to another card. I mean, there are instances where I've seen it work, not on our cards, but on other cards, that it worked.
Yeah,
it's always a risk. And honestly, we don't recommend it.
We don't recommend it indeed, because we are testing and validating in the factory what are the most optimum clock speeds for this card. Yeah. So you can manual overclock, but don't try to flash another BIOS, because let's say another BIOS for another card, because you probably will run into problems.
Trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you can, it's warranty, but what then? I mean, you still need to wait for your VGA card, so...
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
So you're saying?
We recommend for gaming, for if you have a gaming card, Gaming X, like we have, you download the Dragon Center. If you have the Mac OC card, I can also show you a little bit.
Gamers Club is asking, is it the GPU role for streaming, or is there any role for graphics card in streaming? If you talk about streaming to, like what we are now doing, YouTube, you can choose yourself. You can, traditionally, people are using a CPU. Nowadays, more and more people are using GPUs as well, because they're having a... Depending on the drivers, if you use the latest drivers, they're also having high quality graphics.
Yes.
And sometimes, I mean, in some setups, you want to stream, for example, at the same time to YouTube and Twitch, for example. Yeah. Then you put one stream on one stream on your CPU and the other stream on your GPU.
Because it needs to be encoded and decoded and stuff like that. So there is definitely a work for that. So for the, I also see, so Bonehead is asking, does Dragon Center replace Radeon 2020? No, because Radeon 2020 is the Radeon driver suite. So I think this is like GeForce Experience, so this is completely different.
That has to do with drivers indeed.
Exactly, and the MSI Dragon Center has to do with all the MSI features. So it doesn't handle drivers, but it does handle things like a BIOS if needed. So also for your motherboard, if you have a BIOS update, you will find it in the MSI software, which means either live update or Dragon Center.
Hussein is asking, since you're on the MSI website, can you show us a shout-out promotion? I think that's very difficult because we need to have credentials to log in, register ourselves, proof, and yeah, we're running out of time.
Exactly.
So
We want to focus on this topic first.
any problem with it?
If you have a Mac OS card, you go to the website, it's the same procedure. However, it's not Dragon Center you need, it's Live Update. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. So, but we already have Dragon Center installed on the other PC. So let's switch back to that one.
I was reading questions.
I know.
Capture.
Yes.
So, question, will this card, so 5600 XT, support ray tracing when AMD jumps on its boat?
We can't comment on that, also because we don't know.
I wanted to comment.
Secondly, we can only say what it does at the moment, and it does not support ray tracing.
Yeah.
What we can say is that, for example, it's also not really comparable to the NVIDIA RTX cards, because the RTX Turing cards have dedicated ray tracing cores and tensor cores. The AMD cards do not have this. So
you don't know. Maybe they already put in and they didn't enable them. They did tricks in the past like this.
I doubt it.
I doubt it as well. But, and there is always software ray tracing. So I saw some game engine demo. What game engine was it?
I don't remember.
It had,
yes.
very nice ray tracing as well.
Yeah. So they can do it in different ways. The Microsoft what is it? DLX? Is it DLX? I don't know.
What?
The DirectX ray tracing. It's also so you don't need the physical ray tracing cores to do the ray tracing, but it helps, or so it seems at the moment for the NVIDIA cards. Who knows?
Does it have enough horsepower to do ray tracing? Well, that's a very difficult question.
Again, that depends on how efficient it is.
Yeah.
How much resources it uses.
What kind of settings you're using.
Usually it works like this. At the moment, because software ray tracing is probably quite new, you can see it on the 16 cards. You know, NVIDIA has also enabled it, software ray tracing, on the older cards, which don't have the ray tracing cores, and it takes up much more resources. However, if 10 years from now they still keep developing this process and you would try it with the same card and the process has developed, it will probably be way more efficient. So at the moment, that's why we can only comment on what we have at the moment and what we know at the moment. At the moment, no, I would say. It could probably handle it if it was allowed, but you would not have a smooth gaming experience. Yeah,
Arsen says, can I register product without invoice? I'm not sure.
I think it's required.
Well, maybe you can register a product without invoice based on serial number, but on some promotions or actions or extra warranty, things like that,
I think
you need to have an invoice.
The point is that the invoice is required because then we need to know if you actually purchased this card. And maybe, we need to verify that.
Maybe we do a live stream about this.
Yeah, about this process. We could look into that.
Yeah.
Seems that there are a lot of questions about it. So yeah, perhaps it's something we can look into.
Leonardo already answering. Indeed, you need to have an invoice.
Yeah.
Okay, so Peter.
Yes. Well, you keep interrupting me with questions.
I know, right?
So we actually have an SOP for this as well, I believe, will be available soon, where a file which shows you step by step how to do it. We're going to do it for you now. So basically, you start Dragon Center like this, you get this is the start screen, then you go to, wow, those letters are tiny, I think. Which one is support? Holy crap, I can't read this. Oh, actually here, I think. Yes. So this icon is support. It's really, sorry guys, it's really tiny on the screen because it's compressed what we are looking. Yeah, now you're making it even more tiny.
I know, I want to.
It doesn't work for some reason. I don't think you can drag it to make it bigger for me. That's fine though. Just leave it. What are you doing? Now I can't see any. Eric just opened the menu and now I literally can't see anything because it's blocking.
Night, blah, chat, text size, we don't care. Notification. No, advanced.
No, I mean this. No, just leave it. It's fine. We'll work around it. Come on. All right. So here you can see a list. It already says live update here. So
you have GPU-Z, so you can show maybe what we have.
I don't know. We can. What we have now? You mean?
Yeah, I think it's in the. Oh, it's running.
Is it? I don't know. Is this GPU-Z? Yeah, it's GPU-Z. All right. So we can indeed see what we have now. Also to verify before and after what's going on. These numbers are way too small, so we can't see this.
You want me to take a monitor?
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
I'm going to
fix. This is really impossible.
I'm going to fix a monitor. Shall I take this one?
Luckily we have some here.
It doesn't take a lot of space.
Well, that's true, yeah. I don't think we need this laptop for much more anyway, so maybe I'll move this.
I take this
off
one.
the table.
I take this one.
There we go. Yep.
This one is for you?
Yes. So let's connect it.
Oh, that preparation.
That preparation though. And I've got a bunch of screws laying around here. Oh. Alright, let's see if I can get some image. There we go. I see something. I still need to duplicate it though. That's fine.
No? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Setting. Oh, whoa,
come on, here.
Whoa. How do I
Peter.
What? Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So if you don't move your mouse, duplicate. I think this is another one is extend.
There we go. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I think this should be okay. All right. So now we've got it on the screen. Now, wow, I can see it quite clearly. That's
Sorry, we don't speak Russian. Well, I only know bad words.
Yeah, don't go there. Right. So as you can see here, live update. Here you can see a lot of things going on. Also GPU. Oh yeah, here that's what we're looking at. GPU Z. And we're looking at. Well, you can look at two things basically. One is BIOS version, but I don't think we specify because this is a lot of numbers, right? Much easier is to look at the memory, the GPU clock speeds. So here you have GPU clock and boost. Now I'm not sure.
Maybe make a screenshot.
Boost.
Snip it.
Snipping tool. There we go. All right. So we've got that here. We'll just keep that open. Actually, maybe I need to save it because maybe I need to reboot. Maybe I need to reboot. Where's my desktop? Here's my desktop. Capture, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I've put that on my desktop. I'll keep this open. But as you can see, the default GPU clock, so this is the base clock, is 1460 megahertz and the boost clock is 1620. So that was indeed the the boost clock prior to the update of the BIOS. So of course we want to see, this should be 1750, right? Yeah, I think that's the new one. So that's what we want to look out for. All right, now looking at this. So you see a lot of drivers that can be installed. That's not that interesting. I think we want to go for advanced. And here you can see, you can let it scan. But if you go to advanced, that's where you see the hardware, things like BIOS. So you have a motherboard BIOS available apparently for this motherboard. We're not going to apply that right now. And a VGA BIOS. And here you can see the current version is 3.01 and the online version, or the version that's new, is 3.02. It's actually not that big. It's only 639 kilobytes, which is quite small. But to apply it, I mean, you can scan again. If there's nothing here, you should press the scan button anyway.
So far, we didn't have any crashes.
No.
That's promising.
Yeah.
Normally, when we do something live like this.
That's true, yeah. So if you want to update it, then you just click the button of the thing you want to update. So in this case, we're just going to do the graphics card BIOS, and you just click install. Now, it will give you a reminder that, hey, you need to reboot your system, or at least it's mandatory, so, but you need to make sure that your system does not shut down during this update process, because that is actually one of the ways that you can actually brick a card. So make sure that doesn't happen. So then you just click install. It will start telling you it's updating. This will take a little bit of time. It shouldn't take too long, though.
Like 30 minutes, right?
About 5 hours. We've got some time, right? Have you got more cards to take apart?
It's already finished.
Wow! All right, well that was fast.
Wait for installation. Yeah. Probably it's unzipping or something.
Yeah.
Oh, downloading.
Not sure.
So, who made this animation?
I don't know. It's I think it was an intern.
Come on.
Okay, so apparently, we are now restarting. So indeed, people are already saying it should be 5 minutes at most. Not even. It's quite fast.
Oh. This is actually one of the first time I flashed VBIOS, because this doesn't happen often.
True. I'm also not seeing the screen yet on the capture. So it could be that the capture is not working yet, guys. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is. Good. So we're already in Windows again.
Yeah, so stop.
Oh.
Stop.
Oh.
Giveaway.
Oh.
Giveaway. I see people are again. You
God.
do the talk, I do the giveaway.
Yes, I do the relevant stuff.
So, hey, we have a giveaway, people, can you join? Blah 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 blah.
You said I will do the giveaway.
No, but
yes, so we're giving away copies of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. It's the base game plus the Iceborne, I don't know what to call it, DLC or expansion. Yeah, go to msi.com/2/insider or follow the link that's being spammed into the chat. For the people who don't know, we stream on multiple platforms. So we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on 3 different channels of Twitter, Twitch, and Mixer. If you don't see the link being spammed every now and again, please try another platform. I think YouTube is always a good one. And there you'll find a link in the chat, which you can also follow if you don't see the button on the website.
So the winners are Puffy Dragon and Jackson Wong. Congratulations.
Congrats.
In the coming days, we will send you the game code by email.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
Yep. Have fun.
Yeah. So
hunting monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue. So yeah, we just booted into Windows. I didn't do a single thing. The Dragon Center popped up again, and it just said, "Hey, hello, welcome back." So what I will do now is I will check again in the same update screen, and I will scan again to see if it says that we still need to do an update, or if it says no, we just have the motherboard firmware update available now, BIOS update. So it's just the motherboard. So that would appear, that would mean that it's updated. So now let's check it. And we'll do that by starting GPU-Z. There we go. And indeed we see that the boost is now 1750, whereas if I open the previous version, here you can see it was 1620 and now it's 1750. So really, you just saw that is the
one
process.
moment, I'm going to try to make this bigger because.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I'll switch it to this side then.
Oh,
that's fine. Yeah, you can leave it in place. Yep. So again, this is what it was. So the boost was 1620. Now it's 1750. The GPU base clock was 1460 megahertz. Now it's 1615. So done. And now we can do. I mean, let's start a benchmark. I don't know. What do we have on here? Let's check. I think we did have some kind of a benchmark reel, right? What did we have? 3D mark?
I really don't know.
I think so.
If we don't prepare this kind of thing, and people bring the system
true.
in, like, hey, here you are.
Oh, there's here.
3D mark.
There we go.
Cool. So, did you do a benchmark before you flashed it?
Nope. No, but this is just to see is it stable.
Okay.
And I saw some people also. This was a question earlier. If you can flash back to a previous version of a BIOS. So if you want to flash back to the original one, no, because well, we don't provide it. The original BIOS also. Secondly, why would you want to do that? Because this one, it runs stable and you get better performance. I'm not going to do the update of the software, by the way. I'm just going to do a benchmark.
One moment.
And I'll just focus on graphics as well.
Several questions in the chat.
Yes.
Is this an Intel card? No, the VJ card is an AMD card.
Yeah.
And the platform, I believe... Oh, I didn't pay attention. Oh, this godlike. It looks like a... I cannot see it.
Yeah, it's underneath the graphics card.
Yeah, do you see the socket?
It's Z390.
Oh, so then it's C390 godlike.
Z390, Z390, Z390.
Yeah. Is it... If only it's okay to upgrade the motherboard of my Aegis. I think Aegis, because you say Aegis bare bone. I think there are no Aegis bare bones, only full systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can upgrade it because I think it uses an off-the-shelf motherboard, but you probably will lose some functionality because, yeah, well, let's say you need to connect all cables in the same way they were connected to have the same functionality.
Yeah. Right. So we can see here 1440p resolution. Yeah. I'll just keep it on the standard settings. All I did was disable the CPU test because that doesn't interest me at the current
Sorry,
mode
Ricky.
and the demo. Run demo. Or run the test actually. This always takes a little while. But basically what I want to show here is that after the update it runs stable.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just waiting for it to crash.
We had that one time you were doing overclocking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was pushing it a bit too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You started at the top instead of slowly.
Because I was quite confident that I could make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know. And it just goes to show that also we don't fake these things by you know picking cards in advance and picking ones that we know will overclock well.
Yeah.
It's luck of the draw. So yeah. So this is just Time Spy, just the graphics test running. Ricky the Kind heard you drinking in his
I already said sorry. Or I should do it again. Yeah.
I know you guys have all cards in your homes. Is it true this news comes from a secret source? No, well, the first part is already not true. We don't have all cards in our homes.
No. Well, depends.
Yeah, you might.
No, but I mean the homes, like in HQ.
No. Yeah, okay, but I mean, as in we personally.
No.
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 Vicious Boulakis, sorry. You say, you know, he says, I will really appreciate a performance check on VR with the 5700 XT in the future.
Is there any benchmark for
doesn't
VR?
Doesn't seem like there's any properly documented anywhere I search. Yes, there is. Maybe actually in here. There might be VR mark or something. I have to see if we have it. The problem with this is, what does that tell you? Because it really differs greatly per VR game as far as I know.
Headset and game. Yeah.
Yes, because again, like Eric said, you know, some of the new headsets coming up or already released, I'm not sure, they use 2 4K screens. So just imagine that's 2 times 4K that it needs to do. Yeah, this card will probably struggle. But if you have an older headset like an HTC Vive, you know, the first generation, or an Oculus Rift, yeah, those ones will probably be okay. But also then it really differs a lot per game.
Yeah, so Hussein also has a very good comment.
They wish. Oh.
The screen recorder, does it affect the results? We at this moment we're capturing this via capture card, so this should not
influence the performance whatsoever.
Too much. Well, I think it does.
Maybe a little bit.
In the beginning,
we had duplicating.
Well, actually, yeah, that's the problem. It's only duplicating, and we noticed in the beginning when we did some testing with it that it had a small impact.
Very slightly, but very minimal.
Yeah. However, when we capture via NDI, what we, for example, the notebook Peter had here, we capture via NDI.
Yeah.
I don't know the loads, you know how much percent of CPU it takes,
uses,
but that is like more higher loads, yes, and that will influence the benchmark.
But I mean, now the actual capturing is being done on another system, so it's not being done by this one. This one actually just is outputting the signal to 2 different. To 2 different monitors or outputs basically. Yeah. And that's the additional load it's generating. This is annoying. I can't make this go away.
What is a comparable NVIDIA card to the 5600 XT? We talked about that earlier, and I would say 2060 at this moment.
Well, what do you mean in terms of performance or price? See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
In terms of performance, it's in between pretty much in between the 1660 Ti or 1660 Super, which is quite similar, and the 2060 indeed. And it's probably a little bit closer to the 2060. Actually, it beats the 2060 in some reviews as well. So it's relatively close to 2060, yes, I would say.
Short answer, long answer. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. But I mean, the 2060 does have ray tracing cores, so there's a trade-off there.
Yeah.
So here you have the result. Again, it's not far off from what we saw earlier, indeed. So it's in the 7250-ish range.
Your benchmark is flawed. You have you didn't install the latest version.
Yeah, that's true. So my methods are flawed, indeed.
As always.
I'm not sure if that's as always. Shall we see if there's a VR? I thought there was something no, this VRS performance. Oh no, that's different. I think. DLSS.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. There was one on Steam as well, but that was really low quality.
Can it run Crysis? Yes, it can.
I'm pretty sure it will. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's most of it for this. I mean, again, you saw how easy it was to update it. There's a lot of news about it and a lot of confusion about this, which I can understand because it's a last minute change and this doesn't happen often. So that's probably also why people are a bit, I don't know, panicked or confusing or something.
Did you put it in notebook and sleep mode? Okay.
I don't know. I probably accidentally closed it. Yeah.
Peter.
But so we also thought how to solve this. You know, how to do this. But in the end, you can see once the conclusions are there, once we have final decisions, updating the BIOS and especially using, for example, Dragon Center or Live Update, it's very easy and it doesn't take much to do it.
I fixed the background.
There you go. Eric is the fixer today, not the.
We don't know yet.
Not the destroyer.
We don't know yet.
Yeah. No, but I mean, so yeah, you saw how easy it was. It took me all of maybe 5 minutes while trying to explain it as well.
Yeah.
And doing a giveaway at the same time.
Yeah. So I think that's it for today, right?
I mean, do you have any questions left about this product? I wonder. I think we showed the performance. We showed you what is this GPU.
The lineup.
How is it compared to the other AMD GPUs? We talked about the last minute changes and how they impact. We showed you.
Yes, this was a firmware update for MSI. I mean, we have this live update and Dragon Center, so it's very easy.
Yeah.
But this differs per brand. Some brands you need to do like command line flashing.
Yeah. Or they have a separate tool.
Oh, you see, new hashtag. Can you check, Peter?
I don't know. Why? Which?
New hashtag.
I don't know. No, it doesn't ring a bell. Sorry. Hashtag thank Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, it really depends.
That's our winner.
Yeah.
So it's a different ad win.
Could be.
Yep.
So yeah, it really depends on. So for us, indeed, it's software. We try to make it as easy as possible, and that's why we showed you this stream. We also wanted to show you from if you were to buy this card, you know, what is the process, what are the steps you would need to take, because we also wanted to show you that it was quite easy to do. So hopefully we conveyed that, and we showed you that it's actually quite easy. It's nothing to worry about. Should not cause any trouble. And Eric has another winner for a giveaway.
Yes, Kenny, congratulations.
Yeah.
So in the coming days we will send you by email.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching.
Yeah, next week.
We hope it was useful.
Next week we're going to be looking at other AMD products, right? It seems we're on an AMD streak a bit.
Well, you know, we didn't have a topic for next week. And it's again the two of us.
Yeah.
So
Mike and John.
And I didn't want to do any gameplay because everybody can do gameplay. And we suck at gameplay.
Well, I don't know. I've beat Ja a couple of times, so I don't. Do you want to try your luck?
No.
You feel lucky?
You feel lucky. Depends what game.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends what game. No, I was Minesweeper.
Oh, I thought you wanted to do Monster Hunter.
Anyway, so next week we're going to look into one of our 7nm AMD gaming laptops, the Alpha 15.
So this is one of our newer gaming laptops, and our first full AMD laptop in a long time. You've been in Amazon for longer.
Full means it has AMD CPU and GPU. Yeah.
Did we even ever have that? Or I mean,
no.
Okay, fair enough. AMD CPU and ATI GPU also counts.
No, well, no. Maybe long time ago. Yeah. Anyway, so
that's why we thought it's really interesting because it really is a new era, you know.
And this is going to be here next week.
Do the notebook people know?
They have Chinese New Year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
they don't need to know.
They don't need to know.
They're on a need-to-know basis. And
yes.
They don't need to know.
Yeah.
So guys, if you don't tell them, we won't also. And next week we'll have a nice look at this laptop, and we'll see what it's made of on the inside as well. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope we'll see you again next week.
Thank you. Bye bye.
See you.
Ooh, this background. My God, Peter.